this is amazing. Oh, it's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Moskin and Cam Water.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day, race against the clock at a hill climb, or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
Fishies in a row. They're here to make a point and to do Eddie proud. They fan out in the background as they come down to turn 1 for the first time. It all looks pretty good, 2 by 2. We'll stop the camera here. Oh, Eddie would be proud, mate. That was awesome run around turn 1. But, oi! Contact with the fishies.
He's made it through. It doesn't look like Angus has made it, but Thomas Freeman's made it through, and Angus is going to suffer the crowd coming through there to be able to turn his car around. Woo.
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannon's insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride, whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride.
ride with Shannon.
Call 134646 for a quote.
And they are off. It was a good start from Dylan De Bono. I think Phil Vella got a great start there in the background as well. You can see already cars going 5, 6 wide as they're trying to find any semblance of space. They come into T1. So far we've got 2, 3 wide as they snake down. It's Michael Conchar that's got around Dylan De Bono. A couple of cars going wide there. Was that a bit of contact in the back? Scott Pocock caught up in that, I think, there, buddy. But it's Michael Cutterjar's got past, so Dylan...
light is coming out and we're about to get going, and we have a green light and a very slow start for the 86s, but they are moving out there on the grid. It would be very interesting to see exactly which driver can capitalise on this first lap. Just go through the grid. Look like Jamie Christensen had a really awesome start to get ahead of Dylan De Bono, and Doug Gowage also jumped his teammate as well, so unfortunately Dylan stalled the car a little bit more than what he preferred. But
Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.
Still great classes of car, and if you are able to, if you're coming up the ranks on iRacing through the licenses, it's a fantastic sort of laneway into prototype driving, going from that GT3 up through the prototype classes. As the safety car pulls in, we get ready to go green as we come up towards the line. Edwards, Hasler, who's going to get the jump down to turn 1, or will any of the fishies, any of the piranhas in behind them, assault them down towards
they're green and they're off.
First lap. Let's go here.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannon's.
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
This is amazing. Oh, it's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Moskin and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble's bottle right now because
tell you what, Bruce Tanek and Jamie Dyke just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't committed, which is fair enough. It's very scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's see if we get a good run. God's just absolute thinker, but it is a really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, sim racing fans. Welcome back to SRW TV. Tonight we jump back into the world of open wheelers for the second round of the new 2024 season of the Shannon Formula 3 Nationals. The sprint round opener at Hockenheim is behind us. We head to Circuit Zolder for a 60-minute race here tonight. It's Cowy Average Sim Racer here. I'm back together with Hamish Munro, who as usual is in front of the camera and behind, looking after tonight's action. Buddy, we saw some new faces last week. How do you feel these guys are going to tackle the tricky Circuit Zolder here?
Well, Cowy, my gut says full send, full glory, but I think there will need to be a little bit of hesitancy at certain corners around this track. Zolder is it's a very hit or miss track for certain drivers. They either like it or they dislike it. There's no real in between. I'm a big fan of this track. I'm a big fan of the racing it produces. No matter really what cars are around here. Now, I've called some races in supercars around here and for some prototypes and GT cars as well, but never for the F3s around here. So it could be a very, very interesting run for these guys. Need to be careful of the curbs, but I hope we can see some good action here tonight and possibly even a little bit of carnage as well through the multitude of chicanes that this track offers.
I was going to say that, buddy. I've driven this in a supercar a few times, and you can eat the curbs in a supercar. We know that from plenty of past experience that the F3s don't like curbs. They don't eat anything, curbs especially, and probably looking at them funny will hurt these cars. But it is a tricky circuit. Those chicanes, although we say, you got to avoid the curbs, the chicanes are where the speed is around here, and it's going to be those pros. Oh, there's a nice little send in the shot there as well. But yeah, the pros are the ones that are going to test the limits of that and maybe test the limits of the car as well.
Yeah, and I'd just like to quickly put out an apology for last week's broadcast ending prematurely, not being able to get those interviews in with the drivers who ended up finishing on the podium and winning for their classes. Unfortunately, my internet decided to die as the race ended, and it was literally, that was it. It was kaput. We couldn't get it loaded back up again, unfortunately. We were going to try and line up to chat with them during practice tonight, but that hasn't really eventuated, unfortunately. If there are any of the winners from last week, though, watching and they want to come and have a quick chat just before practice ends, hop into the green room. We'll be happy to have a pre-race chat to you. Even if you're having a little bit of a break in qualifying, you want to come have a chat, come in as well, and we'd be happy to chat to you in there as well. But yeah, I mean, Zolder, it offers a multitude of challenges, Cowy, as we mentioned. It's a very classic style of track. It's almost a bit of a MotoGP style of track, I think, especially with its layout. But as we mentioned, the chicanes are what really challenges drivers around here, especially on this layout, because this layout provides all three of the chicanes instead of only two of them. There is one that kind of just straight lines the last corner. But yeah, I think, it produces some great racing, as I mentioned.
Yeah,
it is a very tough circuit as well.
It was built back in *63, and it was actually the home of the Formula 1 Grand Prix for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was the death of Gilles Villeneuve Sr. that changed it, and then Spa got the F1 from then on. But yeah, look, it is a tricky track. It's all going to come down to how well you can take those chicanes, how brave you are. It is a 60-minute race. These guys will have one fast repair available for them. Looking at the fuel numbers, it's about 20-litre tank with a burn of about 1.2. So you're looking at, 16, 17 laps for these guys. So it will be a two-stopper tonight. So, that may well play into the factor. But I know even in a supercar, I've, come into pit here and had to repair damage to the underbottom of a supercar. So these things are a lot lower to the ground than that.
Well, I mean, not just lower, we know how fragile they are as well, and they can just, we always say you look at them wrong and they somehow lose a piece of them on the track. So we got quite a few runners out there tonight, Cowy, and it's looking like we've got about, let me do the quick calculations here.
30 odd cars,
35.
yeah.
I think we're up to
Wow.
35. So we're getting up into the upper end of the most cars we could have in here. We already have got a couple of comments in the chat tonight. Stephanie Piccoli back again, giving the love to Mark Cochran. And then Tyson Styles back again, trying to continue the Callan Hodgkinson train that he started last night. Although Miles Burgess is also out there. We spoke on the broadcast yesterday quite a lot about both Miles and Callan being out on track. Not that either myself or Sheafy are in CXR, but it was kind of just driven by the love for them in the chat.
Unfortunately, Sheafy's having some issues with his pedals tonight, so he actually won't be racing. So, he's been thrown right into the middle of the Pro-Ams now, and unfortunately his equipment's letting him down. The other talk of the town to really mention out there is that while we think about DFR, I know Phil Vella this season, Jay Dixon sits on top of the ladder, so he doesn't need Phil. Perhaps maybe being in Phil's shadow for a little bit, so this is his chance to shine. We've also got the new team, Daniel Byrne and David Gallo from Carlin's Motorsport. They're rounding out that top three. We've got a few different teams there now that have got 3 cars. DFR, Cobalt Racing and the Pace Syndicate have all got 3 drivers in pros, so it's going to make it quite interesting there. If we look at the the Pro-Ams, Andrew Johnson had a great drive last week. He's right on the cusp of maybe getting thumped up into pro, but at the moment, he's shown some good pace and really leading the way. Sam out there, Katakinesis. Oh, I've said it wrong. Katakinesis.
There you go.
I'm going to get it right eventually, Sam. But he's only 9 points back. Chris Swadling a little bit further back, but it's only early days yet for those guys as well. And it's another one of those classes that's got 3 team drivers, the Fishy Motorsports guys, Crisscross Racing, Velocity Sim Labs. They've actually got 5 out there when you count 2 pros. And if we talk about the AMs, Keegan Colville was pretty unlucky. He had that connection issue last week that dropped him out. Mark Cochran claimed a round win as a result. Callum Rossender had a good debut as well. He's sitting second after round 1. But the big talk is going to be Team SRW. There's 3 of them in the AM class. Do you reckon they've got a chance of winning their own league this time?
I think Dean does. Depending on how much pace Mitch can actually bring about himself. He is P2 at the moment in class in practice, but neither. No, Stephen is in there. Actually, I was about to say no Stephen here tonight, but he is actually in the session, but no Dean in the session at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see what comes from that.
Would like to talk to Dean because he actually picked up a podium in the Formula V's on Monday night. One of the first podiums for SRW in a while, so he was pretty chuffed with that, and also means he's well and truly ahead in the brother wars between Dean and Stephen there. So.
Yeah, I think that one's going to go all the way to the end, surely. Like, it's just going to be punching back and forth week in and week out and hope for the best between them both. We are coming up to the end of practice, though, Cowy. About not even half a minute left here in this session. Then we're going to get into qualifying, and being that it is a full normal round here tonight, 60-minute race, means we get the full 15 minutes of qualifying, but the drivers get to actually finish their laps if they have actually crossed the line before the end of the session. So we could see maybe 16 and a half minutes roughly of qualifying here, depending on when people actually cross the line for their last lap, and also if they actually go for that last lap too. But going to be a very interesting night of racing here tonight. As we mentioned, this track offers up a multitude of challenges, but patience, I think, is going to be key here tonight. Patience and staying consistent, because that is how we are going to really determine who is going to do well in this race. I mean, it's a long one, 60 minutes. You don't really get any breaks. We reckon, what do you reckon it was, lap 23 they can get home from on fuel? Is that correct?
23 minutes. So you're only going to get... Yeah, you're only going to get about 16, 17 laps out of the tank, depending on how heavy you are on the throttle. But that 17 laps is about 23 minutes. So, if a safety car falls around about that time, or around about the halfway mark, you may well see a few drivers maybe try to, eke out a lap or 2 extra and see if they can, make it home. So, strategy may well still play a part. We did forget to talk about safety car numbers last week at the start of the event. And we already had one, so made it much easier to pick it. So how many are you calling here tonight?
I think it's a long race. This track can be a bit of a car killer. I'm going to say we're going to get at least two tonight for Zolder.
At least two. I'm going to go with 3 here tonight. Stephanie, any accidental car selection tonight?
I feel like she knows something that we know.
I might have to call out someone who did that. It seems that our esteemed race controller, Tyson McAvoy, jumped in an F3 instead of jumping into safety car tonight. But that did mean that he was able to go out and do a few shuttle laps and see how it actually is to drive one of these things.
Yeah, he was complaining quite a fair bit. It's quite insufferable, actually, I must say. Sheafy in the chat is also saying good luck to everyone, and especially the Velocity boys. Unfortunate Sheafy can't race. It would have been his last race, I believe, before actually going away to Japan. So means that he won't be able to race now, at least until he comes back. There's a couple of cars off already here on the last corner as we go to start our first flying laps for the night.
I think there's still a few people out here still trying to find their feet and, how they're going to, tackle this track. Because it does have its little tricky, natures to it. And also, you've got to carry a lot of speed. You've got to try and flow through this. Otherwise, you're going to be well off the mark. And we've seen time and time again in the F3s here, Hamish, that, it's not tenths of seconds that separate positions. It's hundredths.
Yeah, and those hundredths can literally be found by getting on the throttle or on the brakes slightly earlier or slightly later than a competitor. Could even just be, one little tweak through a corner. You can see Daniel Byrne here just tweaking the steering through that long corner. It can even just come down to actually not making as many wheel movements through a long corner that can actually gain you just that little bit of time over your competitors. Dave Roberts here already has a second purple sector at this stage. We are sitting with driver 808, Daniel Byrne. He has actually given up the lap though, so we'll go stick with somebody else. We'll see what some of these drivers can do. Bellac goes top of the timing sheets here already with a 123 dead. Gallo goes P2. What does Roberts do in behind? He gets into P2 as well. So the pros already showing off against the Pro-Ams here tonight.
Still early days though.
It is.
When these guys were down into the 22s and maybe even the 21s in practice. That's possibly a light fuel load helping there. Remember, this is a fixed setup series, so all the drivers are going out on 20.5 litres. It burns about 1.2 a lap, but I mean, 20 litres doesn't sound like a lot, but in a car that weighs 9/10 of stuff all, every little sort of kilo that you can take out of the car is going to give you speed. So as you said, the qualifying, being able to run past that 15-minute, as long as you get over the line before it ends, you may well see a few of these guys do a strategic pit in the middle of this qualifying stint, so that they can have another go out and give themselves a couple of laps to get the tyres up to temp and then go.
Yeah, I think that's probably, and I mentioned it last night about trying to stay out for, not trying to tow back to pits. You want to try and maximise your time in the session and just kind of offsetting your stops within qualifying. So one stop you might come in, take some fuel, not take tyres. You might come in then a couple laps later and just put on some tyres, but you've already got ample fuel in the car from doing a pit stop within qualifying. So just offsetting that rotation of being able to constantly do competitive laps, and eventually you'll find that little sweet spot which then can actually get you higher up the timing tower. As this should be Daniel Byrne's proper run now as he comes around the final couple of corners. We'll see here if he's actually going to better his time. Caleb Bellac, he was complaining in the chat today, Cowy, that he reckons he'll still be slow, but he's currently top of the timing tower with a time of 122.340 as Byrne goes up to P3 with a 122.650. So, Bellac, he's got some pace about him, there was claims that he was going to be down the rear end of the field, but I think those claims have sorely just been smeared out of contention at this stage.
Well, we know that this is one of those cars that you push it a little bit harder, you take a bit more pace through the corner, and the car grips. The issue is that fine line between having all the grip in the world and losing it all in a heartbeat is such a fine line, and that's what separates the pros in the end. The pros are the ones prepared to maybe throw it right to that edge, feel when they start to lose it and catch it, whereas us slower mere mortals, find it hard to really dance right on that edge of grip.
So Keegan Caldwell, unfortunate last week. He had the pace to do well in the amateur class, but his internet just murdered him out of contention. Jacob Woods in the chat, giving the love to Miles Burgess once again. Hello, fellas. Big shout out to Miles. 2 nights in a row, things you'll love to see. Well, we'll see if he could do 4 nights in a row, I reckon, Cowy. He could run in there. He could even do 6 nights in a row, actually, because we do race 6 nights in a row. He could go from the Sunday to Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday to Thursday to Friday and race in every single series. That would be something I'd love to see, just him rocking every single series.
You got to eat that, remember?
Oh, that's
you
true.
Just live on your ring.
Oh, well, I mean, you say you can't, you shouldn't, but you certainly can. But it probably wouldn't be a very nice existence, I don't think.
Yeah, I think Keegan took a little bit too much of that curve there before, and maybe got look at the slide out there. But that's what I'm talking about. So that's Andrew Johnson there, you know, and that's showing sort of almost a pro mentality where he was looking just to send it in there, expecting the rear of the car to flick and you know, grip up for him, and it didn't. You know, so it's wrecked this lap, but that's the right mentality driving one of these F3s. But the difference is you pick the right moments to have those goes.
Well, Greg Bradley currently tops the timing sheet at the moment, 122.091 as Adam Simpson goes off the track there at the final corner. You know, so Bellac's now been pipped by 2 drivers in Bradley and Roberts. We can actually see there the example of the different track layout that I was mentioning, where the last corner just kind of just gets straightened out. But
yeah.
I mean, Bradley's got good pace here. Not too far ahead of Roberts, but we could maybe start to see some times come down to the 21s. Now that we're at the latter half here of this qualifying session.
And you were looking at Adam Simpson there before. I was going to give him a shout out for the great send he gave me last night in lap 1. Ran me wide. No, it was a good night. I got him back a bit later with a pass, but yeah, I did get that mail, buddy. For sure.
Yeah, there were a couple of stamp lickers last night, I will say. Some of them pulled them off, some of them didn't.
Well, it's one of the things. Look, you know, being a part of the league myself and driving here means I get to know these guys. There's quite a few of the guys that are crossing leagues. We saw quite a few of the F3 drivers racing the Formula Vs on Monday night too, which was awesome to see. And so, you know, these guys have jumped on and picked another night of the week as well. I know, you know, between commentating Mondays and Wednesdays now and racing Tuesdays and Sundays, I'm a muso, so there goes my Fridays and Saturdays. So I've got to try and then I think they want me to join vets on a Thursday now too. I've got just as much racing commitment as everyone else, and I'm only sitting behind the wheel for half of it.
You should come and do vets, Cowy. Then I can commentate 3 of your races per week instead of just 2.
It's a matter of finding the time. I mean, one of the great things about the V8 Pro-Am and Pro-Am racing nights, so Tuesday and Sundays, it's the same track, so yeah. I can go out there and put my practice in for one track and race twice on it. So
yeah, and I think that was probably just to kind of go in behind the curtain a little bit. One of the reasons why vets wanted to follow the officials was that it could then actually appeal to people who do the Monday night official and people who do scops. You know, East Coast were also running the same calendar. They have actually changed it a little bit the last couple of weeks, which has then led to certain drivers not racing because it doesn't line up with vets. But yeah, it's just opening it up for more people to race. And as you said, it's good that
it's one of those things.
Yeah,
you want some variety as well. So, I don't, you know, see a problem both ways. But you know, yeah, look, I think it's one of those things. I think that the SRW cycle comes in and matches the official calendar at least a few times as well. So, you know, so I think every league's sort of trying to do that to make the numbers. Sheafy wanted to race tonight, but you don't want to do it on the Xbox controller, buddy. No, that's not good. Problem is you're not just going to crash yourself out. You're probably going to crash someone else out. All right, we are inside the final 5 minutes here of qualifying, and it is Greg Bradley that sits on top of the tree with a 121.78. He's got 2/10 on Caleb Bellac with a 121.98. So those two gents, the only ones in the 21s at the moment. Dave Roberts with a 122.11. Daniel Byrne 400ths back from him. Jay Dixon, 300ths back from him. As we said, we start talking hundredths, not tenths. David Gallo is, I think it's 1200ths, so a bit over a tenth. Then the grandpa Doug Gowan's the same, 1200ths. 600ths back to Will Ryan. Andrew Johnson sitting in P9. I think that's P9. I don't know. Yep, it is. And P10 is Callum Hodgkinson. Had a great little battle with Callum last night in the V8s as well, early on in a couple of those races too. So, look at our lead AM qualifier is Keegan Caldwell at the moment with a 23.24. Our leading Pro-Am
is Andrew
Who's
Johnston.
That?
Andrew
Johnston. Yep. Well, he come out of the guns blazing last week and already putting some good pace out there again. So mixing it with the pros. Better be careful, Andrew. Don't do that too much. No.
So we got Phil Vella in the chat as well. He gave a big shout out there to Jay Dixon, saying he was just warming up before he throws it on pole. So we've sat with him here for this lap just to kind of see what he does. But he's all orange at the moment, so might not actually be such a hot lap to watch. But apparently Mark Cochran's on for a good lap, according to Stephanie Piccoli. And I've just noticed as well, all the way down to P25, it was orange, separating every single lap time. So there's absolutely nothing in it between all the drivers right now, Cowy, as we would come to expect.
Well, it's been the same week in, week out. I don't know why we sound shocked every time we read it out, because it's the same every week. You know, but it's the thing that I love to see is it's not just close at the front, but it's close in the middle. And, you know, I'm a middle racer. That's where I'm going to sit, in the middle of a pack. So, you know, to see that and would see the time so close, it's great to see. I know last night I didn't get my qualifying sorted again, and instead of being near the front, I was P10, you know, and this is what can happen to these guys. You're not on the mark. It doesn't just cost you one place. It can cost you 5, maybe even 10, if you get it really wrong.
Yeah, Mr. Vella's also actually claimed that he's the exact same Cowy, so a bit of similarities there between you and the former Formula 3 champion.
I'm going to take too many comparisons from Phil. I think he's a bit better at this than I am. I was going to say a game there, but remember, it's a simulation, not a game. But yes, times are close, Steph, all the way down the bottom. I mean, I can look and see, I think, is it Matt Tessiero and Sam Catacasinos? They're separated by 100th. The same for Scott Pocock and Shane Bowen, 100th. You know, the grandpa and Darren Fay's 200ths, and Callan Hodgkinson's is a further 200ths back. So you're talking not even half a tenth separating, you know, 3 spots.
Well, Catacasinos and Hudson are actually even closer than 100. They are currently separated by 0.003 of a second.
There you go.
Like there is nothing in that. That's literally like a little puff of wind has pushed you along.
We've seen a dead heat for pole here before.
We have.
And I think we've seen a couple of dead heats for second as well, where you see 3 zeros on that interval. But look, this is the last lap for these guys. Who's out there on a flyer? Bellac. Is that? Oh, Jay Dixon's got a purple, but he had a couple of oranges to start the lap, so I don't know if that's going to help. Peter Zeidler, he's got a couple of greens as well, so improving himself. But one of those things, you know, yeah, 2 oranges, 1 purple. That could be a really, really fast section.
It could be. It just means he's gone as good or worse in those sectors. He goes green in the last one. Is the lap time any better? It is.
Improve it.
He does.
Yep, 8. He improved himself by about 800ths, and that was enough to jump up into P3 ahead of David Gallo. There are still a few drivers out on track, but
I mean,
looking at orange sectors here for these guys. So.
Dixon managed to actually cross the line before the cutoff, so he will actually have one more crack at this now to try and better the time. You know, only the top 4 into the 21s, and they're separated by absolutely nothing at the moment, but that will end the lap for Jay Dixon and the run at pole position. Can Bellac better his time and pip Greg Bradley for pole position? Probably the only contender at this stage. I don't know if it's good enough. No, it's not.
No, he hasn't improved his time. I know he did.
He's improved it, but he hasn't improved it enough.
but not enough.
Yeah.
So he got within 300ths of Greg's time there. So, close.
I'd say all of them have got the cojones to break the latest, but it's about being smart enough to pick the right braking marker around this track, because you can actually end up thinking, oh, it's a good idea to brake late here, but then you end up in the sandpit or the wall. So needs to be controlled.
We've got to go back to 25th before the interval between cars is more than 0.2.
Yeah. Like, it's crazy. Only 2 drivers at this stage have not actually set a lap in qualifying, those being Mark Turner and Mitch Noble as well. So we've actually had 30. Oh, no, Mitch Noble is, has he actually done one? I don't think he has, but he has at least
been out on track, but he might have had some off tracks and that there.
Yeah.
But Mitch, I know that he's new to the supercars. I'm not sure his background, if he was racing the F3s. I think he's been a GT driver for most of his iRacing career, I believe. But it's good to see him out here, and he's racing in a couple of different series here for SRW. All right, who we got left? Is that Pocock still out on the track? No.
Pocock had crossed the line after the 15 minutes. So majority of the drivers are pretty much just kind of finalising that last lap now. So I would say we're pretty much at the end of qualifying pretty much, because if they cross the line at right on the 15 minutes, you only get 1 minute and 20 odd seconds to really set the lap. So it should have been over by that point anyway. But we're going to get into our race here tonight, Cowy. Let's get up our starting grid for tonight's race. Greg Bradley will start in pole position here tonight with a time of 1 minute 21.775. He'll start just ahead of Caleb Bellack at a P2, only 300ths of a second behind him. Jay Dixon will then start at a P3 here tonight for Downforce Racing, just ahead of David Gallo for Carlin's Motorsport at a P4. With Scott Pocock starting at a P5, with Dave Roberts alongside him in P6. Daniel Byrne will start at a P7 here tonight, just alongside Will Ryan for Pace Syndicate at a P8, with Dougie Gowan starting at a P9 for Velocity Sim Labs. Andrew Johnston will start at a P10 here tonight, and also in the pole position for the Pro-Ams, with Darren Fahey starting at a P11 and Callan Hodgkinson starting at a P12 for CXR. Matthew Gerard will start at a P13 for Velocity Sim Labs, ahead of Red Rocket Racing's Chris Swadling at a P14, with Adam Simpson making up the top 15 on the grid here tonight. Pete Ziedler will then start at a P16 ahead of Shane Bowen at a P17, with Brad Hudson starting at a P18 for JWM Motorsport. Brendan Storer will then start at a P19 ahead of P1 for the amateurs and P20 overall, Keegan Caldwell for Rapid iRacing. What does the rest of the grid look like, Cowy?
Where were you? I thought it was the 20. So Matt Tesseriero in a 21st there alongside him, Sam Katakazinos. 23rd is Callan Rawson. We've got to get this right, Callan. I don't know if you've given us any instruction, yeah? Callan Rossonetta. And is it Nick Schalenberg in P24. P25 is Brett Del Santo, Mark Cochran alongside him. Then Peter Morris in 27th, Greg Johnson 28th. And then we've got Steven Sinkovic, Kevin Wakefield, and I think Miles Burgess at the back, who did not qualify.
He has set a time. He has set a time, but not like anything competitive. And as well, obviously, Mitch Noble and Mark Turner have not been able to set a lap time either. So we'll wait and see if they are actually going racing here tonight. Obviously, we know that Sheafy can't race because of the lack of pedals on his rig at the moment. But we'll wait for everyone to get gridded up, Karen. We'll get ready to go racing.
Awesome, and Stephanie having a laugh at me, I hope, with my great pronunciations. You could jump in and race too, Steph. I could butcher your name just as good as everyone else's too, so...
Just start changing people's names to like food or something, Cowy, just to make it even better. We'll start calling her start calling him Stephanie Prosciutto or something.
All right, well, we are coming inside the last 20 seconds here before this race gets underway. This is round 2 of the Shannon's Formula 3 Nationals here on SRW TV. If you are enjoying the content, please give us a like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. But it's going to be an epic night of racing here at Circuit Zolder. 31 cars out on track. And a 60-minute race strategy. Green flag. And here they are off. Got a couple of lighting up. There's contact in the rear. 3, 4, 5. We're going over the top. That's a mess. Back there, the whole rear of the field has been destroyed.
Track is... Oh, I'm just going to quote Mark Scaife right now. Track is jammed. Track is jammed. Like, if I thought at least turn 1. Like, come on.
Safety car has already been called, so you've only got one more in the bank there now, Hamish. And track is blocked. Oh, wow. So we didn't even get going there. I think it was... Is that... Who's there at the back there? Is it Brendan?
That
maybe
Brendan
got caught up in it?
Mark Cochrane, Greg Johnston, Kevin Wakefield's drop positions. He's off the track. All hell has just broken loose. The safety car is out on track, I do believe. Yes, it is.
Yep, coming out now.
So we will now get our first safety car period of the night. Oh, Crompo. Okay, sorry, Crompo. Well, I mean, to be fair, they were both just yelling incoherently at that stage.
Oh, well... I mean, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to play leapfrog in an F3.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. We'll try and get the replay up of that start as well, because that was absolutely chaotic.
Well, Mark's got some damage, so yeah, he better come and use his fast repair. It was absolute carnage there at the start, but it looks like someone just didn't get going, or maybe bogged it off the line. And when you're that close. It looks like a few of the guys had nowhere to go at all.
So we're going to go on board here with one of the drivers that was involved, with Shane Bowen. So he's just lit it up, and it's just absolute carnage in behind. Like he's just nowhere to go.
So who was behind Shane on the line that we can have a look at?
I think it was Rossender. I think Rossender was involved in behind him. We go on board here. Yeah, that's it. Just nowhere to go.
He's just lit it up, and I think he's made contact with his teammate there, I think.
Yeah, I think
and
his
then
teammate's
they
done
bogged the track. They bogged the track, and then next minute, everyone else has got nowhere to go. Sometimes you've got to choose left or right, and it's a 50-50. Sometimes you choose left or right, and it's a 0. Sometimes you just can't make the right call, and sometimes there is no right call.
No, that's it, Cowy. I mean, nowhere to go in that moment, and well, we didn't even last, I want to say, 5 meters without some carnage. So
yeah, it is a wow, just wow from Steph. Good luck to RC for working that one out. Yeah, look, it's a thankless job, RC, even at the best of times, and that one there looks like it'll be fairly complicated. But it's just so hard when someone I think maybe just had it lit up there, lit up the rears, bit of wheel spin, and the car's looped. And, when you're already 2 abreast, and as soon as something like that happens, you're going to be 4 or 5 abreast, sometimes there's nowhere to go.
I mean, Sheafy, given probably the comment of the night so far, imagine if we had to drive on Monaco. I would hope and pray if Monaco ever comes into iRacing that we don't touch that with a 10-foot pole, because it would be absolute carnage.
V8 supercars around there would be awesome.
That would be fun. But I don't know.
It'd be in one of those tracks that you could defend, though.
Yeah.
We see that in Formula 1. That, when Ricciardo's able to hold the entire field behind him with a broken car, broken engine, that does show you that. Well, look, we've just seen the size of the Formula 1 car, almost double in 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
So, you're driving half a bus around Monaco nowadays.
So if we look at the driver who's
pretty wide in the Formula V, you're right.
Yeah. If we look at who's actually gained the most positions off this start, it was actually Mitchie Noble. He started right at the back, avoided all the carnage, and now he's up 16 spots into the top 20. And P2 in class at the moment, only 2 spots behind P1 and Keegan Caldwell. So absolutely phenomenal start from him.
He was on the right, so on our left as we were seeing him come toward us, I would think.
Yeah, so he was
the only clear part of track.
Exactly, so he was just able to kind of avoid and just kind of send it through the smoke and hope for the best, and it worked out for him in that, on that stage. So, but yeah, so I reckon we're probably gonna, I'd say, do you reckon go green this lap, Cowy, or do you reckon it'd be next lap?
Just listening to race control there.
Oh, yeah. So, what
I think a couple of people are making some questions out there, and there was a response from Race Control. You better go and read the rulebook, fellas. It is a prerequisite for racing here in SRW. You can't take anything for granted. Pit exit is open, so we'll be going one more lap.
That's good. So we get one more lap under safety car. We are only 5.5 minutes into proceedings. So...
Yeah, just heard them saying they're coming in this lap, so...
Yep, okay.
So, Greg Bradley able to hang on to P1 there. We sort of missed everything that happened up the front. There was a couple of movers. Like David Gallo was able to jump a spot. Dave Roberts had a good start, jumped 2 spots. Will Ryan up 3 spots. Jay Dixon, the big loser of the front runners, down in 6th. I think maybe got caught up on the outside there and maybe got fed a bit of grass. I won't mention a certain Fishy Motorsports driver that did that to me last night. I'm not going to go there. It was good fun.
That's 2 times now.
Well, he apologised to me afterwards anyway, so he didn't know I was there, and that's fair enough. I was trying to go around the outside. You know, there were a couple of other movers in the pack. I think Andrew Johnson's up a couple, Callum Hodgkinson's up a couple, Chris Swadling up a couple, and as you said, Mitchell Noble up 16. That's a great result. Miles Burgess also up 10 from the back as well.
I think there's... Oh, there was apparently an incident that happened, but I think it was just cars kind of pulling up and
possibly
kind of getting caught out.
In the safety car, you do get that concertina, and you can sometimes see contact. It's saying that the safety car crashed and then entered pit lane, so you're right.
So the safety car is into the pit lane. Greg Bradley has control of the field.
He's gone straight away. So maximise that last corner. I mean, we said if you don't know when to go, just go and make sure that you maximise your exit. So Caleb Bellack already putting some pressure on here. He's going to go up the inside. Not quite close enough there, but a nice little look. He's forced Greg to go wide there, but a sweeping run and will retain the pace.
See, though, he's got
the run up the inside now. Oh, yeah, but... Oh, who's that running?
Oh, no!
There's contact. That is Jay Dixon caught up in the there.
Jay Dixon and Will Ryan, and there's been a collection.
Contact. Jay Dixon lost it. He's lost the front of his car. Who else? Caldwell's lost it. That's Ryan done as well.
Well, this is, I mean, with the words that we cannot repeat to describe what this start has been like here tonight, Cowy. But if this is another safety car, then my prediction's looking a little bit ropey at this stage. But
he's been given permission to tow, so race control deciding no. Let's let the racing run. But look at the gap. The top 5 cars have now, you know, got like a 3-second gap over the next bunch of cars. So big moment there as far as the race goes. Greg Bradley has made sure he stayed out front. And race control just advising safety car was not called. So that might be contentious for a few drivers, but Darren Fahey caught up in that. Jay Dixon, so that's our series leader. That was not what he wanted to see in a 60-minute race tonight. Remember, all the points on offer. As we did say, though, I predicted 3 safety cars. You predicted 2, so those guys might have a chance to get back in it. But by the time they tow, they'll be a lap down.
So here, Daniel Byrne wants to move on Dave Roberts just ahead of him. Not quite close enough to get it done, though. Might need his teammate David Gallagher.
Morris has had an issue as well.
I think we'll try and get a replay up of that one. Pete Ziedler has had an incident and might have been on the way into the...
Burgess as well.
Oh, yeah. So what's happened to Mr. Ziedler here as he's come up towards the pit lane? And yeah, I know what Wacky Races is.
He's just cooked it. He's just cooked it coming into the pits, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, no, he's all right. Maybe just pulling it up. Maybe that was what it was. What's Miles done here?
Shane Bowen towed without permission, so he's been given a black flag penalty. You've got to wait for race control to tell you.
Oh, Miles just a bit overzealous and cooks the rear end.
Oh, yeah. Did well not to spear out in front of the other cars there too. That's cost him a couple of positions. He was up 10. Well, he's still up 13, so, you know, it didn't cost him too much.
I mean, you can see how dark the sky is right now, Cowy. If we had rain in iRacing, we'd be going, I reckon it could rain soon, but we'll have to wait for that to obviously start happening in iRacing. It can only come too soon.
They keep you know, putting sneaky tidbits out there for us. So the plan was trying to get it done for this season, but obviously things haven't, you know, gone exactly as they planned it. So, on the grass there a bit, Rossender. And he has recovered. Oh no, it wasn't Rossender who's in front of him. It was Santo.
Yeah.
It was a big chunk of grass there, but he's managed to hang on to it. I will get used to your liveries eventually, guys.
I think it was actually Miles who did that as well.
Oh, Tyson said he ran out of talent. I think that's a bit harsh. Jake as well. So a couple of teammates there stiffing it to him already. They've lost the talent.
They were chirping him all night last night in the chat. Now all I can say is, why don't you get out on track and race with him, boys, instead of giving him some chirps?
I'm trying to say that he's forgetting there's no ABS. Oh, that's a bit harsh too, boys. Come on. No. Pay out your teammates. We want all the dirt that you can give us.
Greg Bradley sets the fast lap of the race last time by a 1:22.447, so he's absolutely flying right now, Cowy, and just trying to build the gap back to Caleb Ballack. Dixon's had to come back into the lane.
Both of these guys have built out a nice gap. They've got 3.6 seconds on David Gallo, and you can see there that Gallo, Robertson, Byrne in a close little battle there for third position. Keegan Caldwell up 8 in P12. He's having a good run so far. Somehow has managed to avoid the carnage. He's got Sam Katagazinos right in behind him with the draft. Sam's thought a bit better of it though and got out of it. It is a long race. We are only 12 minutes into this 60-minute race here. The Shannon's F3 Nationals. This is round 2 here at Zolder. Big thanks for Shannon's had them board all of our sponsors. Oh, bit of contact there between Katagazinos and Caldwell. And then I think that was Hodgkinson, the Noble, that clipped him as well on the way through. So hopefully there's no damage to that car. Looks all right at the moment.
Matty Gerard's had an incident just up ahead of them. I was going to mention about Caldwell. The reason I clicked on him was he's actually been given a drive-through penalty for contact under safety car, so he's actually now lost. He's actually going to lose out now on all those positions that he had actually gained. Let's quickly check out what's happened to Matty Gerard here and why he's dropped so many spots outside the 10. So he's in behind. I believe it's one of the velocity cars ahead of him. Oh, and they've just
a little bit of side-by-side contact there, yeah.
Was that teammate on teammate? No, it wasn't.
No, and I think that was Adam Simpson that ran into him as well, and Adam's lost his front wing, so that's going to put him down the pack as well. Oh, there is carnage galore. You did call it, didn't you? You did say that Zolder might bring out the sledgehammer or the wrecking ball. And it certainly has lived up to that reputation at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's a track that more suits the tin top style of racing, so enclosed cars, because you can have that more wheel-to-wheel action, where obviously the F3s are like a paper mache car. As we mentioned so many times, Cal, you look at them wrong and they break. And we saw that already off the start line, just how many got caught up in that incident, how many have broken cars off the incident as well. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a tough one. Zolder, I absolutely love it. But again, it can cause absolute carnage when drivers are not prepared for it. As Ballack sets the fastest lap of the race. Bradley had actually bettered his previous time at the 22.170, but Ballack has managed to better him by going for a 1.65. So these guys are now in an intensifying battle, Cowy, and we're only 15 minutes into this proceedings just about. So these guys can be battling all night if they can keep it together.
Well, they are stretching their lead over Gallo, and looks like Byrne has got... who was he racing with before? I think that was one of the cars got caught up in the moment as well. But he's done well. It might have been Roberts, but Byrne has got ahead of him, but it's cost him a bit of time, so he's about a second and a half back from Gallo, his teammate. You know, it is still a long race, but... You know, these front two here are certainly trying to go somewhere in a hurry, dragging each other along.
Let's check out how some of the other classes are doing just quickly here, Cowy. We'll check out the amateurs. So Mark Cochran in an intensifying battle with Matt Tessiero at a minute. Tessiero wants this, though, into the first chicane.
He's done well too. I reckon he knew he was going in too hard, and he deliberately went over that curb to, avoid, taking out his competitor there. So I think that might have been a bit of smart driving.
Yeah, a bit of smart driving and some good racecraft about him there to know the betterment of not taking out your competitor. Steve Sinkovich done pretty well so far. He's up 8 spots in this race. Didn't set a time in qualifying. He's just trying to keep it nice and clean. This will now put him 1-1 with his brother, as his brother is not racing here tonight. So he now goes 1-1 with Dean. Greg Johnson just ahead of him here. He's doing pretty well. He's currently P3 in class. So Steve looking to get on the podium just like Dean did last time out. Callum Rossender doing pretty good at the moment. Trying to keep it here with the pro in Brett Del Santo, who also didn't actually set a time in qualifying either. So he's just trying to battle his way back up through the field. We got Matty Gerard just up the road from them. He's trying to chase down Scott Pocock, Sam Catacasino, Smiles Burgess.
Here, look at this.
Yeah.
How many cars? We've got
we've got about
6,
10.
7, 8 cars involved here, but this is that mid-pack battle for about 10th down. And it is looking spicy indeed there. Matty Gerard right in the middle of that. Scott Pocock, Rosanita as well, Santo. These guys all running real close. You've got Storer there as well. He's right on the back of this pack. This is the sort of racing that, we love to see. Phil saying Greg looking good through those technical sections. Well, he's certainly, showing it up at the moment. He's got that gap out at 0.3, so Bellac staying with him. Mitch doing good as well. Yeah, he's having a good run at the well, running P11 at the moment. But it's this battle here for 15th, 14th, 13th, 12th. Oh, contact! Oh. No! And Gerard's lost his front wing as a result. And that is horrible. We were on board and there's just nothing he could do. The cars in front just checked a little and he had nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's it,
when
mate.
You're running that close, it's so easy for it to happen.
Exactly right. I mean, and it's not like the supercar where a little touch like that doesn't really do very much. But these cars, I mean, it's heartbreaking to see because it can really just put you all the way back in the field. He has to do a whole lap now without a front wing, right? Because it's happened on the front straight. So it's really heartbreaking for him, unfortunately. Hopefully he can get back into this thing. Maybe a safety car could bring him back into it, or even just an incident that's happening throughout the field. So, but he had good pace there, and we'll see what he can do throughout the rest of proceedings with 42 minutes to go in this race.
Well, there's quite a few drivers that'll be hoping for a safety car reset. You're saying he could have lifted there, Phil? Yeah, maybe. Look, that happens so quickly, though, buddy. And, that is one of those sections where you try to get on the gas seat and get a run. So, yeah, look, it is one of those things that it's difficult. I had a similar thing happen to me in round 1. And that was only a tap. But, probably would have lost my wing if I was in one of these cars as well. It doesn't take much.
It doesn't.
All right, looking at Burgess at the moment. Miles Burgess running P12 at the moment, so he's managed to stay clear of most of the mess, though he did get caught in that incident at the start of the race and pitted. So, one of the beneficiaries of that early safety car.
Yeah, I mean, it was only on lap 1, so he would need another stop still to get home.
Oh, yeah, no, this is just reset his position. He got his car fixed, was able to keep going, whereas we've had a couple other guys that have had issues that, we've got a moment out there. Someone has had some trouble on the radio with race control. This could well be safety car number 2. I don't know if I can see anyone. Mark Cochran, I think, did a run. It is a safety car called, so what did we miss?
So Cochran's coming into the pits. Has this happened with him or has it happened with someone else? We'll wait and see. There is one other incident that's happened, so I think it might just be him pulling up for the pit lane. Yeah, that's what it appears to be. So we'll go on with Scott Pocock, who's also gone off track. What's he done? This is at turn 1. Oh, Schmallenberg's
no.
just lost out, and yeah, that's his sitting duck
And
there.
Schmallenberg has lost the rear of that, and the car's just looped around on him, so he was a passenger, and unfortunately Scott Pocock was just as much a passenger.
Yeah, not much he could do in that one there.
Oh.
A heap of cars coming in as well to take advantage of this.
It is that pit window that we talked about, 20 minutes into this race, so these guys would have done, how many laps have we done on these tyres?
We've done about, I think it was 8
13,
laps.
so you can get 16, 17, probably 18, 19. You may see some cars stay out. These leaders are really trying to stay at full pace until they reach the safety car, making sure no one can jump them in the pits. But I would not be surprised to see our leaders come into the pits as well, because really, if you stay out, you're only going to get another 2 or 3 laps, and then you have to come in.
Yeah, I'd say with these 2 safety cars, Cowy, the fuel saving may actually be able to get them home, because you realistically need 3 minutes of fuel saving. Could happen.
But it's still 40 minutes to go. You're only going to get 23 minutes out of the stint.
Yeah.
So I think, but it's just if these guys, they are taking the edge to pit while the safety car is out. And look at Bellac. Look at how well he attacked that. It was about 1.5 seconds from Bradley back to Bellac, and he's found like 1.2 on the pit entry. We could just see it there visually.
So we're on board now with the leader, Greg Bradley. How quick is this stop going to be for him here under safety car? If we just quickly look at who is actually pit. The only car not to come in just yet is Andrew Johnston. And I believe Will Ryan? No, Mitch Noble. Mitch Noble's also not come in.
Okay.
That was a nice tidy stop there from Bradley. Only a 5-second stop, 41-second lane travel. He will remain in P1 off the back of that, and he'll be waiting now just to come up on the safety car.
A lot of space back to Bellac there, so did Bellac take on a bit more fuel? I don't know. Maybe he missed his spot a little. But it will get condensed. It will get condensed up with the safety car anyway. I just heard on the radio there a few of the guys just asking if they could go past the safety car. The safety car get to pick up the leader, and we can see already here. I reckon there's a fair bit of fuel saving from some of these guys now.
Yeah, for sure there would be, just to try and cut down on that second stop as we mentioned. Bellac went 7.1 seconds on the stop. Bradley went 5 seconds. So, yeah, it was about 2 seconds he lost there, but he will not really be losing out that much since we are under safety car at this stage. So,
yeah, all 4 and 5 second stops out there, Phil. So no tyres from anyone. You thought you probably would have taken tyres at this point, wouldn't you, Phil? So you had some fresher ones at the end.
That could be the play. For sure.
No one has done it. No one has done it so far. 12-second stop for Greg Johnston. But that's probably still not enough for tyres, I think. Isn't it about 15 seconds for tyres? 21 to Nick Schmalenberg, so Nick may have gone tyres. Same with Sam and Keegan might have gone tyres there early on. But I'm sure a few of these guys will be keen to see that safety car out there, because they'll get a chance to get back on the lead lap. I think was it Keegan Caldwell a lap down?
Yeah, I think he is, but these guys should get a wave.
We've got like 4 or 5 cars broken in the pit lane already. So who's that? That's Mitchell Noble, Scott Pocock, Sam Katakuzinos, and Peter Morris still in the pits. So I think those guys maybe have already used up their fast repair earlier in that first incident, and now have nothing left and are just got to wait for some repairs before they can get out on track.
Yeah, there's realistically not much they can do at this stage.
Sam having technical issues. That's horrible, Sheepy. Much like yourself, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't, since we're under safety car, you wouldn't lose that much. I mean, we already saw Caleb. He took 2 seconds worth of extra fuel, but he hasn't actually lost the track position, which is important because of the safety car period. So it could be interesting to see here what the play is for some of these guys out there on track and who is actually going to get the advantage off the back of this strategy. I mean, who took the 11-second stop? I think it was Mark Cochran took 11 seconds. I think that might be enough time for tyres.
Greg Johnson with a 12, almost 13-second stop as well. So, look, it is one of those things. I think there's still a few people out there that have stayed out from lap. Morrison, that's still in there. Kevin Wakefield is a fair way up in the field. He's up 19 spots at the moment. I think Kevin maybe hasn't pitted yet.
He pitted on lap
for a second time.
So
so he pitted with the. I think he towed early on with that early safety car.
Yeah, Steve Singovic came in on lap 1 as well, so he'll need another stop. Jay Dixon, who came in on lap 4 from damage. Fahey's the same. Bowen came in lap 1. Apart from that, everyone else in the field has done a stop since lap 11 until now.
They've thrown themselves out of the strategy, so it'll be interesting to see if that works because, I mean, even if you pitted lap 2 and filled it back up again, the safety car come out at lap 13. So you've probably only done half of your stint to fuel, maybe 10 laps of the 17, 18 that you get in the tank. Because remember, running behind the safety car here, they definitely wouldn't use anywhere near as much fuel, so to give them an extra lap or 2 at the end. Oh, Phil Valley got to race Will Power in the F3 and M-Line. Awesome, man.
So Jay Dixon's just gotten his wave around. So he'll now be able to get a bit of advantage. Cochran, I believe, has a drive-through penalty, according to Stephanie Piccoli in the chat. Greg Johnston also into the pit lane as well. So we'll have to wait and see what the call is on both of those, whether these are actually pit stops for Cochran or if it is a penalty for him. This appears to be a penalty yet. Is it? No, not a penalty. It's a pit stop for him.
Unfortunately, Sam's car's dead. He's saying he's not racing, but he's going to stay in the session. So I'd say he's going to be watching it from on board some other drivers. You can confirm Mark did not take tyres, Steph, okay? So maybe just missed his mark a little, maybe. And that's for the longest stop.
Yeah, he's done a 4.8-second stop there off the back of that last pit stop just then.
Sheepy saying he felt like he'd been run over a litter of black kittens. Well, all the pink kittens are gone, buddy. We don't have kittens racing anymore. But we've still got quite a few of the drivers sort of split up new teams. One's gone to DFR and others have formed another team, Carlin Motorsports.
So apparently Keegan Caldwell, he had a stop-go penalty, I believe, Stephanie, because he had a 40-second stop in that last stop.
Yeah, he had contact under the yellow, under the safety car, I think it was. And incident responsibility, unfortunately. So he's run up the back of someone under the safety car.
Yeah, that was during our first safety car.
You're right. Well, so Caleb has dropped a spot, hasn't he? So
yeah, he has. That was during that pit stop with because he took 2 seconds longer.
Yeah, but he had a cracker of an entry.
Yeah, but Gallo was right behind him. That was the thing.
Oh, look at that. So total pit. No, he must have missed his bay, I would think, because Greg Bradley's done 5.2 seconds stop time, 4.93 for Dave Gallo, 7.28 for Caleb. So I think he's maybe overshot his pit bay, and the virtual pit crews had to move as a result, and iRacing has added some times.
Yeah. So that's kind of the confirmation of the pit time. So it's either he's missed the box or he's taken a little bit more fuel, possibly.
Yeah, unfortunately, it means all of our cat jokes are out the window, Phil. All the claws out, and those little cheeky jokes that we could have there, can't use them now. No one else has picked a pet name for their team name. It should be the Bulldogs or something like that. Then we could have some fun. All right, here they are, about to go green again. And again, Greg Bradley getting a nice run out of that last corner, stretching out a tenth or two there. David Gallo under big pressure from Caleb Bellack, who seems to be able to get this car lit up right from the start. Daniel Byrne just sitting in behind there. He's not looking to involve himself. Caleb going up the inside, already getting that position back from David Gallo. Then David threatens to sweep back under the underside. Caleb blocking that. It does seem we've seen a couple of guys try to go up the inside here, Hamish, but that outside line has kept a bit more speed, so it might be one of those sort of areas, a couple of parts on this track you really want to sweep wide and just carry that extra speed.
So turn 1 or turn 2 specifically, actually it's a corner where you actually take an early apex and you kind of run it wide on the exit. So people who actually have the wide line can actually find the grip a lot faster than the car on the inside, because the car on the inside is not being able to come out onto the wide line on the exit. So that can actually be the reason why we can see the outside move work at turn 2. Doesn't necessarily work at turn 1 because it does kind of tighten up on exit. But turn 2 especially, because it kind of widens and you take that early apex, that's where you can actually see that outside move work. And it works very good in these cars because of the high amount of downforce that they have. So it gives us some absolutely spectacular racing, Cowy, and when it kind of doesn't work out for someone, it gives us spectacular viewing because we can get a little bit of carnage from that as well.
That's it. Jake talking about mate Sproth and Kiffin rating. Look, oh, contact. That's Steven Sinkovich caught up in that. Who's with him? That's is that Brad Hudson? Oh no, so that's admin and owner with a get together in the league. Oh, massive moment there for Keegan Caldwell as well, I think.
It is.
He's lost that rear wing, and he's already. Oh, he came in for the drive-through. He maybe still has a fast repair available to him. But that is some carnage already, and that is going to be a horrible car for a half a lap.
This is what's happened. So we got Simpson on the inside of Sinkovich. Sinkovich has kind of turned in on him here. And then what's happened?
Oh, just bounced off the curb, and unfortunately Brad was just caught with nowhere to go. Another one of those instances where you're that close behind, something happens in front, then you're a passenger where you just end up dying. Back out front, it is Bradley and Belak, and already these two are showing great pace here around Zolder. As Phil Vella in the chat there said, smooth lines through the chicanes, but already Caleb's got past David Gallo, and that gap is now out to 1.3 seconds. So definitely these two are the class act tonight. It's just going to be who is it going to be, 1 or 2, because they are battling close and racing close.
So we are now past the halfway point of this race as well, Cowy. Lap 19, 32 minutes in. I'm going to assume when you said it was 23 minutes they could get home, I assume you meant it was 23 minutes from the end that they could get home on fuel? Yeah. So we could actually see some people jump in the next couple of minutes just to try and get out of the traffic. Minutes. Yeah.
That's possibly true as well. The other thing is too, we know that, running the fuel out of this car does make it lighter. So, but clear air. We know the tow can have a good factor as well. Of these two towing each other along at the moment. Good bit of air there on the curb from Greg, but it was all tyres, so that shouldn't hurt the car. But Caleb is sticking with him here. And a fairly smart race so far tonight from Caleb Williams. I've seen him make a couple of little half moves, but nothing that would endanger himself too much.
Yeah, he has done well.
We've got some movement in the backpack there. Darren Fahey, Mitch Noble, Callum, Rosanita battling hard back there as well. Look at this, the teammates.
So yeah, this is the battle for P1 in the AM class at this stage. Rossender and Tessiero battling it out at the moment. P14 and 15 on the road, but P1 and 2 in the class. They got Andrew Johnston just in behind them. He's P6 in his class, P16 on the road, and then Pete Ziedler as well. Mark Cochran not too far behind them.
I think we refer to that as a gaggle of cars behind him.
Yeah, I would say that.
Gaggle, doesn't it?
There has been a drive-through penalty put out for car 028 for contact with car 033 under safety car. So if I look at my list, who is that is just being given a drive-through penalty?
No, it's Callan Hodgkinson.
Oh. So naughty, naughty boy, Mr. Hodgkinson. After a good run last night in the supercars, we won't say who he passed on the line to get into the podium position for the Pro-Ams.
He had some pressure tyres too. No, it was a good move. He tried to go around when I tried to go around. Tried to stop. I can't think. He was racing now, but I was trying to stop him on the inside. Callum was behind, looking to snip as well. I held him out for one corner, but I couldn't hold him out for a couple more. Oh, they were shot.
We've got Peter Morris in the chat as well saying, I almost made it to the start-finish line. He was involved in that lap 1 incident off the start. But yeah, Mr. Hodgkinson being a bit of a naughty boy, and the CXR car will come trundling down the lane and drop a couple of spots. Biggest gainer in this race so far, Cowy, his teammate Miles Burgess, has just gained another position on the entry into the final corner. Simpson has to go off. Burgess will get it for free. That is 23 positions gained in this race and 8 within his class at this stage.
On a cracker of a run, and somehow has kept that yellow machine clean of damage, where we've just seen so many falling afoul of the tricky nature of Circuit Zolder. It's not an easy track to drive. You see, you like watching the action here and that. It certainly has given us plenty of action, but it is not an easy track to drive. T1 is really hard to, to gauge your braking zone, how much speed you can carry through. And you want to flow wide and really use all of the track, but it's really easy just to cook it a little bit too much and run out into the dust.
Yeah, you
so
really
I think
just
up
got to
through
be
here,
smart
this chicane here, it is very easy to get a slowdown from iRacing of a couple of seconds if you get it slightly wrong.
Yeah, it's it's very strict at that chicane for sure. You've got to kind of just aim to keep it on the black stuff. And I mean, Miles probably did it almost perfectly there. He's just kind of tried to straight line the corner as much as possible. Drive through penalty for car 067 with car 122 on lap 17. I believe that is Mr. Sinkovic, who's now getting a drive through penalty. So no favours for the owner of the league. He is getting policed just as hard as everyone else. And now he's going to have to trundle down the lane as well.
We have seen it happen. I think, Tyson, Extreme Race Control leader, he got one on Sunday in the V8s, so there's definitely no favouritism, if you're an admin or a broadcaster or whatever. I've got my fair share of black flags in my career racing here at SRW. And, look, well, I would say all of it's warranted, even though I maybe disagreed with a couple. But it's one of those things. You're racing hard. You're not meaning to make a mistake, and sometimes you do, and unfortunately the nature of racing is that it's not just you that suffers from your mistakes sometimes, it's the people around you.
Well, I mean, you just got to be, try to be as tidy as possible. Sometimes you get caught up in a bit of an incident.
It's intent.
Yeah.
It's intent, man. Well,
Yeah, exactly.
If you're just trying to race hard and shit happens, well then shit happens, and people can get upset. And we're racing for sheep stations out here, of course, but it's one of those things that, if it happens, it's generally not malice. We're just trying to race hard, and, when someone's pushing you and they're braking about as deep as they can and you're trying to brake deeper, you can get yourself in a world of trouble. All right, well, we look at the field here. We're coming inside that window for the last pit stop. It is open now, and it is Greg Bradley that currently leads the pack, as he has done for all of the laps of this motor race so far. Caleb Bellack sitting behind him in P2. That gap has gained out, though. I know it's only 0.4. I thought it was 4 seconds there for a moment. It's only 0.4, but they've got 4 seconds over Gallo and Byrne, our teammates running 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, there's
Gallo's the one that's gone to DFR, isn't he?
No, both of them are with Carlin at the moment.
No, they're both Carlin. Oh, that's good.
So
Schmale and Burke here. Oh, and he's just lost the rear trying to carry. That's what I was talking about right at the start during qualifying. That's where you're trusting the car right to that point that it breaks. And, sometimes you don't know where you are, and I think it just comes with experience of driving the car longer and longer, and the guys that have been driving it for longer and have got more of a feel of where that moment is.
I'll tell you what, Sheafy's actually just pointed something out to me. Oh no, he's in the field, but he's kind of been a little bit silent here tonight. Dougie Gowans, I was about to say he was in practice, but I couldn't see him in the session, but he is here, P6 at the moment. Just trying to slowly make his way around and stay out of trouble.
The silent assassin, the grandpa Doug Gowans, we've barely seen him at all tonight, and he's found himself in P6. doing a good job. Up 3 spots at the moment, so definitely a silent assassin drive from the Grandpa tonight. He's got about 2.5 seconds to Roberts in front of him, and about a similar sort of amount back to Swaddling behind him. So at the moment in the zone, racing his own race, and coming up to that last pit window.
Yeah, we're edging closer and closer to the final pit window. We have had a chat from the Facebook chat from Matthew Feely. Let's go Crisscross Racing. As well as Phil Vella saying the F3 is typically pretty, I'm trying to see what it's pretty stable unless you carry brakes too deeply. So yeah, it's kind of it's a car that can be quite tricky, but once you learn how to drive it, you can kind of progress pretty quickly by just doing more laps in the car.
I did see your comment there a bit earlier, Phil, as you were saying you sort of roll out of it a lot here, you know, so that's interesting to know too, because I think so much GT3 racing out there, even the V8s to a certain extent, where, you know, the moniker is, you know, when you're not on the accelerator, you're on the brake, you know, so it's interesting to see that sometimes, you know, that rolling out, it's a little bit like the Formula Vs, where it's all about carrying momentum through the corners and keeping your revs up.
I'll tell you what I just saw through turn 3 then was Bellac just attacking the curb, and you could see the car just kind of really not liking it. It really got unstable mid-corner, and that's why you kind of need to avoid the curbs around here in these cars, especially the 3D curbs, because it can really unsettle these things mid-corner, and that's what I think has actually led to some of our incidents happening specifically through turn 3. These guys have just attacked that curb on the inside, and it's just forced them out into the sand. They're then still on the gas, they lose the rear end, and then suddenly all hell breaks loose in front of them.
It did cost him a few tenths there, but I think he's managed to gain them back in the second part of this lap. The gap is just at a second now, so Greg is driving ultra smooth out front. We're not seeing him bounce that car around quite as much, but it just shows you that Caleb, he knows that we're coming into this last pit stop phase, so he is pushing hard and trying to get as close as he can. Maybe he can redeem it with a bit better pit stop the second time around. And although Phil's saying he's out of the draft now, so he may well put away, that could be a possible, yeah.
And what, Phil's becoming our pit lane reporter at this stage. He's giving us all the inside tips. He is the Larko of the F3 series at this stage. It's just, he's giving us all these little tips and just kind of chirping in with these little facts for us, which we really appreciate, because it can just help bring a bit more energy to it as well.
It means I don't have to make as much stuff up on the fly, you know. We'll take any bit of assistance we can get from the chat out there. Oh, we've got a moment here. Is this Swaddling? What's happened here?
Down towards the final corner.
That curb again. Yep, that curb again. I was going to say the curb of death, but I think just about all the curbs around here seem to have the letter D in them. Whether they've got the EATH as well is debatable. But there's definitely a capital D in most of these curves here.
Yeah, I think, you know, we mention it a lot. The curbs are just something you want to avoid in this car, specifically ones that are three-dimensional, because they can just do all sorts of damage to your car. And I don't know, it's faster to attack the curbs in certain cars at certain tracks, but this is not really a combination you want of F3 plus curb at Zolder, because it can really lead to some nightmares happening for you. Bradley leads the way though, and Vella's really just picked this right now, Mr. Phil Larkham in the chat. That gap has grown over a second now, and he could just pull away from Bellac at the moment.
Very true, Sheepy didn't notice that we don't have a Dylan DeBono here tonight as well. Don't. You know, would love to have Michael Cuttajar back, but I reckon we need to put a prerequisite that he gets a mic and talks to us. Oh, is it another moment here? Mitchy Noble in the SRW machine, just a little bit of curve. He's caught that all right there, and then so that there is likely he's lit up those rear tyres a little bit with that first slide. And you know, one of the things you learn here, especially in iRacing, is that it generally takes a few corners for the tyre temperatures to drop back down. So following that incident, he's pushed hard again, and there's just no grip in the rear, and he's gone around as a result.
Yeah, I think also being unsettled off that curb too probably didn't help either. And it's a cocktail that can just lead to the car having a bit of a hissy fit mid-corner, like we just saw. So a really tough thing to juggle and get right.
Dave Roberts has had a moment as well now. And not having the best of nights, Dave. He's running P7 though at the moment that happened. As it
the final corner, he looped it mid-corner.
Yeah, it was P6. He was P6. I think he's let Burgess through. Who's now up 25 positions. So I would normally say, is that the key? Starting at the rear and making your way through. But I think you were pretty lucky tonight, Miles, because you avoided that carnage at the back of the field at the start of the race. So I think there's a bit of luck involved, but he's having a great drive, 25 spots. Brett Del Santo's up 14 as well. He's having a great ride. And Greg Johnson up 13 in 15th position as well. So those three all finding some great gaps out there and avoiding the pitfalls that it's probably befallen about half of this field. Jay Dixon, have a look where he is at the moment. He's running P25, but is he a lap down? I think he may still be. Or did he get it back?
He got it back, but
didn't get enough to get back on the train, probably.
Yeah. And I think he has actually been lapped again because he wasn't really allowed to come back around and up to the end of the train. So that's kind of limited him a little bit. But yeah, so he'll just be trying to make it to the end now.
Gowans has got him now, so he is been lapped by the front runners. And so unfortunately not the points haul he was looking for tonight, or the DFR team.
Will Greg come up on lap traffic?
Well, we've just answered that question.
Yeah.
He's already gone through some of it by the looks of it as well. And he's about 5 seconds to Steven Sinkovich and Noble up ahead, so the two SRW drivers.
Yeah, which both of them aren't even together in position-wise on track.
Yeah, I think Steven's down a couple of laps now.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, Steven had that damage, he repaired it and then got the drive-through, so that's probably put him a further lap down.
So that's where he is there. So both the SRW boys are just up the road from him now, so not too far long until he kind of makes up that, that lap on those two cars as well.
And that gap out now to 1.3 or maybe 1.2 as Caleb has found a little bit back. It's about 1.3, that gap from first back to second at the moment. So Greg's still showing supreme confidence, driving smooth. So far hasn't made an error. Do not want to put a commentator's curse on him, but he's having a great drive. But we've had a massive moment in the back there. Keegan Caldwell, Dave Roberts, Matty Gerard, Will Ryan all caught up in this, I think. So what's happened here?
Is this just them coming into the pits and SDK's giving us a bit of a lie?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, for sure. That's what it is. It's lied to us again.
Well, the first of our runners to come in.
Oh, that's Bellac gone!
That was Bellac has looped it. Oh, he's been destroyed by Gallo coming through.
No, that was Cochrane. That was Cochrane.
No, so that was Cochrane, was it?
So let's go on the replay here.
Through there. Let's have a look.
So down here, he's...
Oh, he's just gone hot. He's just gone hot. Outbroke himself. Curb has looped it. He's then tried to get going. And right into the path.
Nowhere to go. I mean, we say it time and time again, just hold your brakes. Doesn't matter if you're trying to get back on track, just hold your brakes, because it means that, Mark would have thought that Caleb was just going to sit there, and he's tried to go straight ahead, and suddenly he's moved and he doesn't know what to do. So, what a shame for him. Byrne and Gallo, these boys have now come into the pits, as does Bellac. He's actually managed to stay in the top 10, but he will have to do this pit stop now. Dougie Gownson goes up P2. Have we got a safety car?
Yeah, may cost him further as well. Have we got a safety car? So yellow sectors. Haven't seen a safety car yet.
No, I don't
see
any
information from race control.
Yeah, Phil calling it as well, the re-entry. So just that was not ideal for sure. Mr. Larkham coming in, chirping in again. We appreciate it, Phil. Maybe we need to just get Phil on the payroll, have him in here as our little chirper. It'd be good.
It's always having, it's always good having the information from the drivers, and more importantly, we appreciate the interaction with the chat. I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard me before. I can sit here and talk about, stuff we'll talk about nothing, almost like Seinfeld, the show about nothing. Well, I can certainly do that, but I'd rather chat to you guys. And look, yeah, Mr. Ison, maybe it wasn't the smartest attempt there, but we'll leave it in the hands of race control to see if it is something going to penalise. Greg Bradley coming into the pits now to do his last stop.
As well as Noble and Cochrane in behind too, so these boys all into the lane now. Gowans and Burgess also into the pits. Where's Byrne? There's Byrne there. He's provisional P2 at the moment. But depending on how fast Bradley's stop is will really determine this. He's a bit far away though to really make that up on Bradley. He really had a good lead after that. Breakaway.
They had 4 or 5 seconds on Byrne and Gallo. That was Caleb Bellac and Greg Bradley there.
Oh, Adrian Loretti coming in at the absolute worst time, I must say.
What did I miss?
We'll bring up the replay and we'll let it explain for itself just quickly here. Being that we have got 10 minutes to go, we'll quickly run through some of our big moments of the race. Of course, this was probably the biggest one at the start of the race. It was the start here that we had. A couple of cars involved. It was green flag action. And then as they kind of broke away here, we see just a bit of lighting up there from one of the cars, and all hell just breaks loose on the start line. We couldn't even make it to the start-finish line before having an incident off the back of that one. And then the most recent incident that we have had here, if I can find it, has been one that has really affected the front of the field. If I can find it here. Which, was it this one? Let's quickly check. I believe it was. No, this is without his.
Oh, yeah.
This is him coming into the lane.
No, yes.
So here it is here. So this was the most recent incident that we had. It was Caleb Bellac. He was P2 coming up to the first chicane. Kind of just licked the stamp, sent it into the chicane, lost the rear end, turned it round. But it's the rejoin that is the conversation piece here. Mark Cochrane out of nowhere, had nowhere to go, and just into the side of Bellac there. And that has now ended Caleb's race as well as Mark's race to try and get anything out of this one.
I'm looking at that. Mark saw, the car come out, and one of the things you try to think of as a driver is you try to go behind the car, not in front of it, in case he kept moving forward. So I think that's maybe he's tried to change to go around the right of Caleb's car and has ended up lining him up perfectly. So there was also a big moment for Jay Dixon earlier in the race, and at the moment Jay finding himself, he's up into P19 now, but he had a massive moment early on in the race from, I think it was P5 or P6, just got caught up there, and that was another big incident.
Miles Burgess is gone at the final corner.
Burgess.
After a phenomenal run, and Bellac's in Caldwell, sorry.
Caldwell with no wing. We might have to have a look at that because there was some drivers on the radio. So
what I was going to say was I'd clicked on Caleb Bellac. He's actually been given a drive-through penalty for his incident that he had. Let's quickly see here. What's happened to Miles?
Burgess, let's see what's happened to Burgess.
He's come down.
Cowan's on the inside. Oh no! So Keegan had already lost it, and then Keegan didn't hold brakes either, and he's got Gowans coming through. So there's a few drivers that not holding brakes. That might be an issue that'll come up in the chat with race control.
And I apologise, it wasn't the final corner. It was the same corner that we saw the incident happen with Caleb Bellac and Mark Cochrane, as Burgess just trying to make up anything he can. He's now P2 in class. He was leading, but he is up all on the back of P1 in class now, being Adam Simpson. So at least he's still in this fight. Hasn't really lost out too much. But it's just going to make his day a little bit harder towards the line with 6 minutes to go.
Greg Bradley's got that lead out to 8 seconds, almost 8 seconds over Daniel Byrne now. So David Gallo right on the back of his teammate. We've also got this battle here for Burgess and Simpson. And somehow Miles has avoided getting a broken car out of that. So I think that I said before he's had a bit of luck tonight. Well, I think that maybe just sums it all up, and you should be buying a lottery ticket.
I was about to say he needs to buy a lotto ticket for tomorrow night. And yeah, Bradley has actually dropped a little bit of time to Daniel Byrne here. I'm not sure why.
Well, I think with all that incident and that, you would find that Byrne and Geller had to drive through Caleb's incident there, so that would have cost him a bit of time. You're going to take care in spots like that. Greg was already past that and able to race his own race, so he's been able to further that gap out now. Now you can see that Greg knows that he's got a good lead. He's now doing sort of low 23s compared to the mid 22s of the guys behind him. So maybe just trying to take a little bit of risk out of his race here. Though one of the things you don't want to do is you can't completely switch off, because that's when mistakes happen. But maybe just, bring your brake marker forward and, back a metre. Don't try to be quite as aggressive on those curves. Look for smoothness. Not that Greg hasn't been super smooth tonight. But you can just see it in the lap times at the moment. He knows he's got this zone up, and it's just about, keeping the car on track and staying clean for the last 5 minutes.
A couple of comments in the chat as well. Mark Kent saying, Stern talking to coming to the drivers post-race from race control. I'd say you've got to hold brakes, and I agree with that one, I think. And we've got Sam Catacasinos in the chat as well saying, g'day to us. Unfortunate for you, Sam, to have your race ended early, unfortunately, mate. But great to have you in the chat. Great to have you in here. Supporting the boys with only 4 minutes to go in this race. We are on to lap 36, Cowy, so we're not going to quite make the 44 laps that we kind of calculated we would get to. And I believe as well, my prediction's actually right, Cowy, because we're in the last 5 minutes. We cannot have a third safety car.
I thought there was a couple of instances there where I think maybe race control could have called another one. So do I get a benefit of the doubt? Should have had one and it didn't? Or is that, no, you're going to be harsh and just rule it as a win? I'm
going to be harsh and I'm going to rule it as a win, because I rarely get it bang on the banana there, Cowy. Maybe if it was like, there was a crash here in the last 5 minutes, that would have actually been a safety car earlier in the race. If it wasn't the last 5 minutes, then yes, I'd say we both get it for that respect. But, the only reason the race
call one out in the last 5 minutes. So.
Yeah, that's right. So, it would literally just be a gimme.
Well, at the moment, Bradley doing a great job here. We've got a couple of battles. Simpson and Burgess still continuing. Gerard and Johnson battling hard. Rosanita Del Santo battling hard as well. Nicholas Schmalenberg given a penalty for failure to hold brakes as well. Look at Miles Burgess looking to get the inside run on Simpson. He's been threatening this for a couple of acts. Can Adam hold him off? Not quite at the moment. But I know that Adam is not ready to give the battle up. Looking to go around the outside. Can he? And Miles doing a good job here. He's showing some good speed. Again, this will be that point of the race where we know none of these guys would have taken tyres. So they'll be right at, we know that once you get the 50-minute mark, the tyres can start to get pretty ordinary. But Miles doing well. He's consolidated that position and has just taken out a 10th or two. Though Adam's in the draft, he's not giving it up yet.
No, that's it. And being 2 minutes to the end, I'd say we've probably got two. Where's the leader, actually? This will help me determine it. I'd say 2 more laps. You reckon, Cowy?
Being it's like a 123 lap, normally the rule is if you're inside the last 2 minutes, that'll be the last lap. But you've also got to be able to, they don't want time left over when you finish a lap. So I'd say if he goes around here, it's going to be close to whether or not white flag comes out this lap or not, because it's going to be about a minute and a half. There'll be 2.
I would say because last night in the supercars, we came round and I think there was 30 seconds to go on the race, and that was when the white flag came out. So we'll
have a look. Can we see Barney? Can we see Barney with a flag out?
Yeah, he is. It's white flag lap, so one lap to go.
Yeah, so I think like last it came down to when it was within 2 minutes at Canadian Tire, it was only like a 1 minute 17 laps. So therefore, it would have meant if they called it at 2 minutes, there'd be an extra 20, 30 seconds, 40 seconds. Yeah. So same thing here, but I think Greg got around there with less than the lap time to go, less than his best lap time. So that's why it's coming out. All right, so Well, the lead has come down to 5.5 seconds, so Gallo and Byrne both pushing each other hard there, but Greg knows he's doing everything he needs to do at the moment, as long as he doesn't switch off completely. Just take out all the risk. Oh, I think that was a back marker getting out of the way. Andrew Johnson getting out of the way there of the two Carlin Motorsports machines. Alright, Bradley coming around the final section. Oh no, yep. Got the last little bit of a straight and the final chicane. But a great drive. He's led every race, or every lap of the motor race so far. Only a couple of corners left to go. And it will be Greg Bradley for Andreg Racing coming home to be your winner for race number 2 here of the Shannon's Formula 3 Nationals. And he had and the two Carla Motorsports boys. I thought for a moment then it was Gallo looking to pop out, but team orders for a nice little swiggle over the line. Roberts has come home in a 4th. Dave Roberts, great result there. Also Will Ryan with a P5 in his first season here at SRW, and Miles Burgess, 25 positions, brings it home in P6, starting from last on the grid. Great result for Miles, and a great battle there with Adam Simpson as well. Rosanita and DeSanto here. This is the battle for... Oh no, DeSanto is a pro.
Yeah,
so is he...
Rosanita's gotten P1 in the amateurs and 11th overall.
And our leader was Burgess in the Pro-Ams, so they're two of the guys we want to get in the room, but... There's a lot happening in this race. A lot happening in the chat too, guys. So we are very thankful for all your support out there.
Yeah, if you guys haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell icon as well so you are notified anytime we go live with our 6 nights of racing. I mean, Cowy, if the rest of the week is like this, I am game. I am game for what is to come in our 8-6s tomorrow night, the IMSAs on Friday, the Supercars back on Sunday, and then the Formula V's Monday night, because this was an absolute cracker.
It certainly was. I know Stephanie out there saying sucks that Mark couldn't get back out on track. Just counting in here, 7, 8, 9. I think there was 10 drivers that couldn't get back out on track. Look at the broken cars in the pits there.
So there are our top 3 drivers from tonight. Top 3 overall, top 3 for the pros as well. Burgess got P1 for the Pro-Ams, Rossender P1 for the amateurs. We're looking good for being able to actually chat to them tonight, Cowy, touch wood.
That's it.
We've done well so far to hold it together. We'll see who's going to come into the green room, but before they come into the green room, we'll quickly run through our classifications here for the race, starting out with the amateurs, of course. If we can bring that up on screen, we can. Callum Rossender will take out the win here for the amateurs, just ahead of Matt Tessierro out of P2. I say just ahead, it was about 29.5 seconds ahead. And then Mitchie Noble will come home P3. Greg Johnston out of P4. Steven Singovich out of P5. He now goes 1-1 with Dean. Nick Schmalenberg comes home P6. Kevin Wakefield P7. Keegan Caldwell, unfortunately, 6 laps down in P8. Mark Cochran, 9 laps down in P9. And unfortunately, Peter Morris got caught up 33 laps down in that early incident. We then go to our Pro-Am classifications. Of course, these are all provisional, as we have not got, the final penalties applied to everyone, but it is Miles Burgess in P1 for Crisscross Racing, up 25 positions in that race. He finishes just 7/10, nearly 8/10 ahead of Adam Simpson from Fishy Motorsports in P2. Matty Gerard will then come home in P3 for Velocity Sim Labs, with a nice little recovery from him, with Andrew Johnston coming home in P4 for Andreg Racing. Brad Hudson then comes home in P5 with Callan Hodgson in P6. They're the last cars on the lead lap for this class, with Brendan Storer 3 laps down in P7, Pete Ziedler in P8, Chris Swadling in P9, but 9 laps down. And then, unfortunately, Sam Catagazinos, Tyler Sheaf, and Mark Turner, non-starters and non-finishers alike. And then we'll move on to the pros, Cowy. And, well, it's Greg Bradley who comes home in P1 with Daniel Byrne in P2 and David Gallo in P3. What a podium finish that is. Unfortunately, Jay Dixon just not having the night that he would have wished for. Dave Roberts comes home P4, Will Ryan P5, Caleb Ballack finishes out of P6, Brett Dalsano in P7, Doug Gowans out of P8, Jay Dixon, as I mentioned, P9, Shane Bowen in P10, Darren Fahey in P11, and Scott Pocock, 26 laps down, will be non-classified here tonight.
All right, we've got all the boys in the green room. Let's bring down our AM winner, Callum. All right, so before we say anything to you, Callum, how do you pronounce your last name? We've got Rosnida. Rosnida, there you go. Well, I was saying Rosnida, so it's just
It's
silent.
pretty close. It's pretty close, yeah.
Don't, I butchered it 3 or 4 times tonight anyway, buddy, like I do everyone's name. How did you find that race? You're right in the thick of it, P11 overall, and the leader for the AMs. It was happening there, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was mental. I thought it was over at the start. I got tangled up in the grid drama, but after that, I don't know. It just come together. People kept falling off around me, but I just sort of kept working my way through. So I'm stoked.
I get the feeling that this track was not necessarily a favourite of many of the drivers out there. I mean, it did claim 10 or so the non-finishers, so certainly it's fair share of carnage. Are you a fan of this place yourself, buddy? Or
I think I am now, but
now.
I predicted 3 safety cars and 10 DNS. I think we got 2 safety cars, and you just said 10 DNS. So
and DNS.
Pretty close. But I mean, it's just a really technical track, and it's very unforgiving. And also the high speed section, it's like if you give up a little bit in the high speed, you lose so much time through the rest of the mid section of the track. So there's no room for error on this track, as you've seen.
Now you're a new driver to the league, also, Callum. The boys giving you a good welcome.
Yeah. I race casually with Dixon and a few of the other boys from Triple F on Thursdays usually. So that's it. They encouraged me to jump in here and give it a go. So yeah, it's going okay so far.
Awesome. Have you got anything to ask Callum before we get a word about his sponsors, Hamish?
Well, Callum, I mean...
Oh, no. Oh, no. Are you still there, Callum? Were you still there, Hamish? We haven't lost you?
I'm still...
I'm here, but Hamish is quiet.
Oh, I hope we're going to get the interviews in because his internet played up last time about now. Let's hope it's not going to do the same thing. You there, buddy? Oh, no.
My microphone decided to have a bit of a hissy fit. Oh, I just thought I'd give you some high blood pressure there, Cowy. Callum, yep. I mean, we mentioned at the start of the show, it was a tough track to come to, of course, and one that can be a bit of a car killer, especially for the F3s. What was kind of your mind, and your planning coming into Zolder, being that, as you mentioned, it is a bit of a car killer, and this car and track combination could have really ended in tears, as it did for a lot of the field.
Yeah, it was really just about just getting safe laps in, not necessarily the fastest laps, but just safe laps, something that you can do every lap, and not make a mistake somewhere.
Well, Callum, you've had a great drive, buddy. P11 overall and P1 for the AMs. Who would you like to thank out there on your win tonight?
I thank the boys from Triple F. I'll thank my dad for watching. He probably watched. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. I'll talk to him later. And I'll thank the girlfriend for feeding the dog because I got in trouble halfway through the race for not doing that. But whoops.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, buddy. And it's good to have a chat to you for the first time and actually get it from the horse's mouth how to say your name.
Awesome. Thank you.
That means we still will probably get it wrong, buddy. But the fair warning there. But
that means Cowy will still get it wrong.
That's all right. Story of my life.
Cool. Oh, well done, buddy. We better move on. We've got some more drivers to talk to. Let's bring in we're going to bring in Miles Burgess, the winner of our Pro-Am class. Miles, was it tactical to start last on the grid tonight?
I think it was a bit of a strategy aside from crashing before the start line. That part wasn't part of the plan.
Typical Miles, just trying to take anything we feed him. Isn't that right, buddy?
You know it. Yeah, no, it was a good race. Had a couple of contacts, but nothing too major. So
We did see you sort of, wheel to wheel a few times. It looked pretty tight there, and if you're trying to make a move through the chicanes, it definitely was the chance of contact. But it looked pretty hairy there at some times. But we did comment before that it looked like you had a bit of luck surviving the incident at the start. And there was another incident there near the end there that you could have died at too. So are you going to buy a lotto ticket tonight?
I think it might be a good idea, honestly, because I think although I did get caught up in the start, I think I only had a broken front wing, and I still gained 9 positions off that. So, all things considered, it's pretty good.
Miles, I've just clicked onto your car. What is your helmet? Please answer this.
It's a great question, to be honest.
There's so much Pepe on my screen right now.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Pepe. I just thought it was funny, and I asked one of the guys in my team if he could do up a helmet for me, and he said no. So I was like, fair enough, because apparently they're a pain to do. But and I was like, you know what, this will do. And I've had this for about 2 or 3 years now, and I haven't changed it. So.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, you did it 2 nights in a row from last till, well, tonight, first in class. Obviously, you're just proving that you are a CXR favourite in the chat. All the boys starting to chirp you up a little bit. When are they going to get on track and race with you instead of sitting in the chat and possibly sipping a beer at home and just chatting shit for you?
They're all in bed. They're just scared. I was trying to hype them up to get in here earlier, and they were just like, "No, I don't want to do an hour-long race." And I'm like, "Mate, you're scared. What do you think I'm going to beat you, Tyson? Sorry, Jakey, you scared? Fellas want to jump in that round 3?
It's gone quiet in the chat now that you've had a chance to answer back, buddy. But
mate,
look, we better move on. We've still got a couple of drivers to talk to. So give you a shout out for your sponsors out there, man, and congratulations on your Pro-Am class victory, and what was it, P6 overall as well. So who would you like to thank?
Give me 2 seconds, fellas. I've actually, it's been a minute.
Miles constantly wasting people's time. Could have had the list up well before you come in here.
Mate, it's been a while since I've done an interview. I've kind of forgotten. I've lost the list. Plus, I don't think this is an update.
Well, I know Palmerston Bakery and Shunt Scenery are some of your sponsors.
They are. Jennifer Russell Real Estate.
That's another one of them.
I got Doomed Garage, I believe. But yeah. Look, mate, I'll be on the podium next week, and I'll give you a full rundown then.
Big Them's fighting words, Miles. Them's fighting words. So, well done, buddy. Great drive tonight, and maybe you might have to start qualifying if you want to, say that to us again, eh?
Where's the fun in that?
Well done, buddy, and great drive tonight, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again this season at least. So, well done.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Miles.
All right, so I think we bring the 2 Carlin Motorsports gentlemen in here, P2 and P3, Daniel Byrne, David Gallo. We thought we'd talk to you guys as a group because you didn't even battle at the end there. You were, doing little snakies over the line in a pre-rehearsed photo op finish? Was that what it was?
Towards the end there. Yeah, we just we weren't going to battle. I think we just sort of decided that last lap and keep it clean and come through some of the back markers, and happy with the finish. I think for both of us. Yeah,
I reckon I had pretty good pace over David anyway. I let him hang out the front for a while, but near the end I thought, I'll just show him how it's done. I think.
just sandbagging behind me.
No, that was it. Was racing. All we wanted to do really was keep it clean, not die. And we thought if we could do that, hopefully we'd be up the front somewhere. And yeah, we're pretty happy with that.
How close was the moment there with Caleb Bellac? Because it didn't look like you had a lot of room to get through there and a quick decision to be made.
Yeah, I was sort of coming out of that chicane. I saw the smoke and pulled left and sort of half on the grass there. So lucky enough to avoid him a bit of bad luck for Caleb, I suppose. But yeah, that's sort of fortunate. But yeah, just missed him.
And so, is there any bragging rights to be taken out of tonight between you two with that, that photo finish?
Oh, look, we're waiting for the we're waiting for the messages from the DFR boys. I'm sure they're going to come soon. But yeah, look, we're pretty happy with that. We've started our own little team. We've kind of broken off a little bit and has good friendly battles, and it's good to show them up a little bit.
Well, I think it's the first, double podium for a team for the season. I mean, we're only in round 2, so not saying a huge amount, but you boys have been with the league since the start, and how are you finding the racing out there? Because it was a bit chaotic tonight with the track, but this is sort of one of those tracks where I don't think you can really blame the drivers. The curbs can catch you out.
Yeah, I was saying to the boys just before the race, during practice, I was lucky to string, three laps together without going off and almost hitting the wall. So it was pretty brutal out there. How'd you feel, David?
Yeah, the same. In practice, I sort of strung a couple of fast laps together, but trying to piece it together in the race that way was a struggle with temperatures and the chicanes, and it's definitely a challenging track for the car. And for an hour long, yeah.
It was actually really hard to follow closely as well through those fast sections, and it was interesting. As soon as I was out of draft, there was so much more downforce and so much more grip. So it was really tricky to follow closely, but and really hard to make a move, I think, in general.
Well, I mean, boys, what are you thinking now that, I mean, we spoke about your new team? What was kind of your thoughts when you found out that Kittens was kind of just dissolving, and then we were getting a couple more, or a new team, rising from the ashes of that, and other boys going to other teams around the league as well?
Oh, I think that's just the natural progression. I think we're all still mates, so there's no issues there. But some people have got other things on, and there just wasn't enough of us really to kind of keep Kittens together. So we kind of thought, oh, look, maybe we'll, some of us will break off, and maybe we'll do some privateers, and then we thought, let's try our own little team, and so we've just kind of gradually broken off. But I mean, we still chat every day, so we're all still mates.
Well, yeah, you've got some, new team, new sponsors, P2 and 3 tonight for Daniel Byrne and David Gallo. Who wants to let us know who's giving you guys all the great support out there?
Daniel, you take it as a bit of a shopping list.
So Carlin's Motorsport, Drive Radar 08 on YouTube and TikTok, Glam Radar, which is Australia's largest viral online beauty store. Could be good for you, Cowy. Little Rara, if you want some good wines, check them out. And Eagers Automotive, which is Australia's largest automotive retail group.
Awesome, boys. Well, congratulations once again. We can see that you are going to be a team to be reckoned with. Daniel, you've got an F1 championship to defend as well, so you're going to be in for that. The F1's not too far away.
Yeah, I'll be in for that. Love it.
Round number 1 starts at round 5 at Aragon, so it's going to be interesting come round 5 to see what happens in that first F1 shadow round that we have coming up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good.
Awesome, boys. Well, congratulations. That is the two gentlemen from Carlin's Motorsport with a great drive tonight, P2 and P3. Well done, gents. All right, let's bring in our winner of tonight's race, Greg Bradley. Hang on, I just got to kick Dave out. Greg, well, mate, you led from start to finish. It was all happening in your mirrors. Caleb pushed you there for a while, but I know that you had a good compliment from Phil Vella out there saying your lines were very smooth, man. How did it feel? Did it feel smooth out there?
It did. Being in clear air made it quite easy out the front, and I think Caleb was quite generous with how much he was pushing behind me, so he allowed us just to both concentrate on our own thing without having to give 110% and make any mistakes, so it worked quite well.
Well, it did look like sort of Caleb was having to push there a bit to keep up. You think he maybe had some pace, just you were driving good lines, didn't give him a sniff to get around?
Yeah, I think certainly some of those corners it felt like he was faster than me, so I think he might have had a little bit more in hand. Just kept it safe until he sadly lost it.
Well, I mean, we saw you have some bad luck last time out at Hockenheim, Greg. This should actually help bring you back up the order a little bit now, trying to chase down Daniel, who now leads the championship. You know, that battle obviously with Caleb, but lasted majority of the race. Then you started to break away from him. And I don't know if you noticed in your mirrors when he actually had the spin. What was kind of your thought process when when you may have noticed on the relative he was actually nowhere near you after his incident? Was it kind of just push on and try and keep the gap you have back behind you to P2, or kind of, just try and keep it clean now because anything can happen at the top end of town?
I actually prefer it with someone behind me a little distance because it helps push and helps focus. So once he spin, I noticed I dropped quite a bit of pace. I was lucky during the week. I got some tips from Phil Vella on how to lap this track, and I think they came in handy to get me through to the end.
They didn't necessarily sort of bring your margins back a little bit at the end there to play it a bit safer. It was just
just a little. I managed to get a 0x race, so I wanted to hold on to that all the way through.
Awesome. Well, what do you've been sort of both ends of the field now? You're enjoying the racing out there. These guys, there's some in qualifying, you guys were so close. Again, it's hundredths separating you. It seems almost you blink and you're gone. How are the nerves after a long race like that?
Well, I'll be honest, it was actually one of the easiest races I've ever had. I think being in clear air made it easy, and everyone else having to fight and struggle behind me, it made it actually pretty good.
We noticed you just made sure of your exit on both of the restarts there, and I don't know if you really caught them napping, but was it just about maximising your own exit on that last corner?
Oh, I just wanted to do my own thing. It's a very hard track to pass on, so as long as I've got a little bit of space there, it's going to always be hard to get by.
Well, Greg, you have certainly done the deed tonight, buddy, leading right from the start of this race all the way to the end. The boys at Andrew, we had a chat to Andrew. No, I don't think we have. So you have to let us know who's.
Yeah, you had Andrew last week, I think. Oh, no, the stream.
Well, we had an issue with the stream. Otherwise, we would have got to chat to him. That's right. So it means you get the honours of letting us know about all the support you guys are getting out there. Who's looking after you?
Oh, I guess first of all, I got to thank Shannon's race control and you guys managing the broadcast. But of course, there's Team Andreg and some other guys in Discord. Andrew himself. I can't forget Stacey, Milo, and Piper. But most of all, it's all about Phil's wife, Monica.
Well, I was going to say, Adrian already out in the chat saying, there you go, Phil, it all makes sense now. And Phil is saying, no, you're being kind, you're just fast. So, well, you've done the job tonight and you've put it out there and run away with it, mate. So congratulations. And I'm sure it's not going to be the last time we're talking to one of you Andreg boys, because you're both showing great pace.
Let's hope. It's been a good season so far. Hopefully you keep it up.
Touch wood. That's it. Alrighty, Greg. Well, thanks very much for joining us. Well, Hamish, that was a bit of a crazy night, buddy. The action that we thought we would get at Zolder, well, we got that and then some.
Yeah, mate. I mean, I think it really provided us with a good example of this track. I don't know the last time we actually came to Zolder here for SRW TV, but I mean, it proved, at least in my heart, why it is one of my favourite tracks, not only on the iRacing service, but in all of Europe in terms of racing circuits. It offers so many challenges, but so many possibilities for overtakes and mistakes to happen, and we got a little bit of everything tonight across the hour of racing. I'm excited for next week for round number 3. I am going to have to quickly check the calendar because I don't have it at the top of my head.
Being the smorgasbord tonight.
Well, we got Mid-Ohio next week for a sprint round, so that's also going to offer us up some challenges. It's a little bit of follow the leader, but I think this field, I mean, they love to go for a bit of a push and a bit of a force the overtake, so we could actually get some really nice racing out of that circuit next time out. But yeah, tonight it proved to me at least why it is one of my favorite tracks, because it just offers up some absolutely fantastic racing, no matter what you've got around here. You could have MX-5s, Formula Vs, the lower class of cars around this track, and they would have an absolute banger of a race. And the F3's put on a fantastic show for us here tonight.
Well, they certainly did, and that will bring us to the end of our coverage of the Shannon's Formula 3 Nationals here on SRW TV. As Hamish said, if you have enjoyed the content, please give us a like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that, follow us on all those socials so you don't miss out on any of the action. On behalf of our management and broadcast team here at SRW, we'd like to thank you for staying with us tonight. I'm Cowy, average sim racer. That is Hamish Munro there. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time on SRW TV.